is Musicians and Beyond with Lahorn in Sarabian, where we bring in the backstage info on the life, the lyrics, and the long journeys of the music industry. Mark, you have had a busy few days. I saw you on the television the other day for work in the Boston Marathon. Thank you for helping out and protecting us.
Well, it was a lot of fun, and thank you for those paying me to do it.
Well, it was nice to see you in the midst of everything.
So I was right there at the end, at the finish line, Exeter, and it was a lot of fun. It was a big day.
Awesome. Last week we had Houston Bernard.
Houston Bernard, yeah, very, very, very great local musician here. He plays a lot of shows around New England, and he's a lot of fun.
Yeah, super talented. He's a ex-military, as are you. Thank you, and thank him. And he does a lot for giving back to the military. And I think if you haven't checked him out, check out HoustonBernard.com. He's got some awesome swag. He has videos you can download. He's got music you can download. Support him. Give him a shot.
And if you haven't, go back and watch the episode on YouTube at Musicians and Beyond, or on Spotify and anywhere you find your favorite podcasts.
Ooh, that sounds familiar.
I wonder who says it like
Jerry Davila and Debbie Catalano from It's Another Sunday podcast. So if you haven't checked them out, please give them a follow and make sure you follow Musicians and Beyond. Mark and I would really appreciate it. And today, Mark, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, episode 95. Who do we got?
We have Tyson Haynes, one hell of a performer. As you know, we saw him down at Nudies on Broadway a couple of years back, and we both thought, wow, what a show.
Yeah, we got to get him on here.
Yeah.
And we did, thanks to you.
Well, thanks to us. It makes it easy for them to come on when we do our joint efforts and put it together. And also meeting them down there in the bar and supporting them goes a long way as well. Boys and girls, it's Mr. Tyson Haynes. How are you, sir?
How you doing? There we go.
Cool. Yeah, Mark and I were down in Nashville a while back, and we saw you playing, and we were like, we got to get this guy on the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think we were at Nudies the night you were playing there.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a while ago.
Yeah, it's been some time. Yeah, I've seen you at Nudies a couple of times when I was down there. John and I were down with one group, and then I was there with a bunch of others, and everyone remembers you playing at Nudies, that's for sure. Where are you playing now?
Majority of the time, if I'm in Nashville, I'm at Lucky Bastard Saloon.
So you like going up and down the strip, Nudies and Tootsies and all those things. How come you don't go outside to like the, is it the Commodore and then the Bluebird, those type of places, or would you rather go where all the action is?
So actually, I used to do that a lot. The Commodore Grill and Bluebird. When I first moved to town, those are like the songwriting. They have a lot of songwriter nights, and go see a lot of the big name writers at especially Bluebird. But God, I live quite a ways from Bluebird now. It's on like the other side of Nashville, but that's definitely more of like a showcase area that I will go to once in a while. Whereas the Broadway downtown thing is the make your living area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a beautiful thing. So, hey, listen, you moved 23 years old. You left Canada to come down here. Was it because there's better hockey down here?
It doesn't hurt. It definitely doesn't hurt.
I had to take a swipe there.
Yeah. There may be a little hockey that plays a part.
That was pretty much a leap of faith for you at 23 years old to hop on your motorcycle, throw your guitar on your back, and basically start a new life. And you're doing very well at it.
I'm surviving, so it's not the worst outcome, that's for sure. But yeah, I came down at 19 for about 4 months just to scope things out and kind of see what the general consensus of Nashville would be. And so I went home and saved up for a few years, and then permanently moved back at 23. Yeah, and so it was kind of a leap, but I knew a little bit of what I was getting myself into because that initial phase. But still, even where I was from, and just in Canada in general, with the the country music scene, I knew I didn't want to be there. So it was elite, but at the same time, not as big as it sounds in my mind, anyway.
Excellent. So I also read that you were a BMX bicyclist when you were a younger kid. Is that where you learned how to jump off the stage and take those big leaps there?
It started off BMX, and then into my teen years, it became not professional, but I was hoping it would become professional motocross.
Yeah, you
So
definitely got a bit of daredevil in you when you're jumping off the speakers like that.
yeah, that's the only way I can get the adrenaline rush. I need to get it from somewhere, and apparently the dirt biking thing is too dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I couldn't do it, that's for sure.
I couldn't do the musician thing either.
That's true
Bob,
too.
so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you definitely know how to get the crowd going. So for those that are listening, Tyson Haynes is a Nashville-based musician, and what a show he puts on. Not only his, his covers in his original music, but he puts on a show for the people.
Yeah, you were definitely entertained when you're watching Tyson up on stage and his band's behind him. They really get into it. They have the crowd right away. You're drawn into the show. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you, thank you. That's definitely my main focus. So
Now, for a little
appreciate
while, you had a pretty expensive habit, and I'll keep the people waiting because it's not what they think. It's not what they think.
that. I was wondering what it is too.
Well, here you go, Tyson. You used to smash guitars on stage. Now, that's a $500 a night habit.
It could be. Give away all my secrets, but they were not expensive guitars.
Okay, that's all right, but still, it's a thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'd scour the pawn shops and scour Facebook Marketplace and just any any cheap guitars, even if people just would randomly have guitars sitting in their basements that weren't worth anything and they never used. So they're just looking to get rid of them. So anything I could find for cheap, I'd kind of stock up a little bit on those and just have them on the ready.
Tyson, did you ever make a mistake and grab the wrong one?
No, no. Thankfully, I usually bring my my all black guitar shows these days, and you will not see a black guitar get smashed. So
Good, good.
I like it. So you've been doing this for a while. What originally got you into being a musician?
so I've always been into music. My I was raised basically by my mom and my aunt together, and they were always, especially my aunt. She had like every greatest hits you could think of in the cassette player at all times. And then I go to her house, and she'd have the music chat. What the heck was it back in the day where they actually had music videos all the time? So
MTV or VH1?
yeah, it was one of those, and then they had Much Music after that, and it was always on something. So it was never one genre. So I kind of grew up with just CCR greatest hits, Garth Brooks greatest hits, and it just kind of varied. So there's always so much music surrounding. And then as I got into in high school, I was always interested in guitar, so I just started taking guitar class. And then guitar class, you'd have to do a project where you'd have to sing some songs or maybe try and write a song. And it kind of just kept slowly blossoming from there to where I realized, oh, I can actually carry a tune a little bit. And my teachers were very highly encouraging.
Follow up with John's question. Who are the greatest influences musically that impacted the way you're playing today?
So for the entertainment factor and a lot of the songwriting is Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
That has got to be my biggest influence overall. And then, believe it or not, Eminem is definitely a songwriting absolute genius. And whether you like him or not, or you listen to that kind of music or not, if you get into the lyrics, it's really deep, and that's always got to me. So from a songwriting point, even he's been an influence for me.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you always played country, or did you start performing in a different genre and then work your way this way?
Actually, yeah, country was always there, but also had a lot of like a little bit of the punk rock stuff. Like I really enjoyed playing Green Day and things like that. And then the pop rock, like Matchbox 20, Rob Thomas and Three Doors Down and things like that. I really got into Goo Goo Dolls and yeah,
Cool.
so a couple different influences for sure. Yeah.
Excellent. So now, coming from Canada, one thing I know, we all know that Nashville is one of the most patriotic cities. It's one of the places where they honor America and the sacrifices people have made.
Right.
And you coming down from Canada have absorbed that way of the American life and patriotism, and you honor the veterans, both here and in Canada, those that have fought for freedom. In one of your songs, "Thank You" is the military appreciation song that you've put out there. Tell us about that and what brought you to do that.
One of those things where, I'm from Canada, but I've been living in America now for about 11 years. And there's just so much, everybody's patriotic. And it's always just got to me. I love that. And you hear songs like Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. It's not a national anthem, but when it sounds like one,
Absolutely.
The way the crowd responds to that every single time, it will blow my mind. So the longer I lived here, I was like, man, this is pretty amazing. And then through music, I would meet a lot of soldiers or a lot of veterans, who had served, and it just kind of, the more you learn what they go through, and especially the ones that have been overseas multiple times or for long periods of time, and you start to realize what they go through, it just it gets to you. So I ended up having an opportunity come from playing at Lucky Bastards. Actually, a guy came up to me and he's like, your energy is unmatched and we need that for our troops. I work for this company that sends bands over to perform for overseas military, and I get a lot of offers living in Nashville, and 1% of those pan out to be a real thing.
Mhm.
A lot of people offering you the world, but this guy, I didn't hear anything back for. Gave my business card and didn't hear anything back for about 6 months. So I just thought it was another guy talking out his ass. Turns out it wasn't. About 6 months roll by, and he goes, "All right, I'm ready to set up your tour. We just got to get everything signed and go over details, but tour's all set up." Wow. So 2023, we did over Kuwait and Jordan over the 4th of July and, days before, days after. And that was arguably the best musical experience of my life. And seeing how appreciative our troops were, that ignited a newfound appreciation that I didn't even know I had. And I think most of us can say we support the military, and it feels good to say that and thank them, but to see it in person like that was something else. So then I was in my hotel the one night, just 5 a.m, couldn't sleep, and I was feeling grateful for getting to do that for them and what they do for us. So I just wrote about it, and it took me about 20 minutes to write that song, which is
That's pretty cool.
unusually quick.
Yeah.
It just kept flowing out, and I played it the next night.
I have to thank you because you put the call out on social media for people that wanted to share in that memory that you were putting together and that production. And so a lot of people reached out to you, submitted a lot of photos of themselves and family and friends in the military. I was one of those that responded, and I thank you. I enjoy sharing that with my friends that are still in the military and those that have retired and that I served with. And it's a fun little thing to send that around to them and let them see us in there. So thank you.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear, because that was my one. I was like, I just got to make this little lyric video, but I wanted to make it personal for anybody who follows me, or fans, friends, anybody that holds a place in their heart for military. I'm gonna give them the chance to be. And I mean, it's nothing crazy, but just this little thing.
That you're wrong, 'cause what y'all do is amazing. I get to enjoy my life while I'm up here on the 6th string.
I was blown away by the amount of the response I got, the amount of photos, I had already, just from a couple people sending them in, I started piecing it together, and then all of a sudden, I got hundreds and hundreds.
I bet.
And I was like, how am I supposed to fit these into a 3-minute song? So I had to go through and I tried to get every single person that was in them at least at one time throughout it, because I was getting 8 to 10 images from
Yeah.
everybody. So I was like, as long as I get every person, that's the best I can do. So I'm hoping we did that.
You definitely did, and it's an amazing tribute. And like I say, I've shared it with my friends, and they thank you. It's made it around the world. I know that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we do appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's the only way I know how to do it properly. So it's like, even like I said, even if it's just that 2 hours that we can take them to somewhere else in their minds, then that's awesome to know we can do that with music.
When you're
Yeah.
writing your other songs, do they all flow as easy, or are some of them just painfully long?
Yeah, man, can it vary from day to day? Yeah, you can have writer's block one day, and then you just never know. It always seems like, obviously, the really personal songs that mean something to you, they're going to flow easier for most part. And personally, for me, I find writing a slow song is easier. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, some days you just can't get the monkey off your back, man. It really varies from day to day and what you're writing about, how you feel that day. And if I find trying to come up with, like, a lot of people can go into a room and have this idea, and it doesn't matter what kind of day they're having. They just want to write about that idea, and they maybe can do it. But I kind of have to be in a certain mood to write about a certain thing. So I would come in with just a list of ideas, and however I'm feeling that day, that's what I go on.
This is probably a tough question to answer, and I'm sure most musicians would have a problem with it. Do you have a favorite song that you've written that you like to perform? Is there one that just stands out and hits home?
Yeah, well, Thank You has become one of those. And I do enjoy playing Watch This. It's basically hold my beer and watch this. And that kind of sums up the majority of my life. Is I'm like, I'm okay at drinking beer, but I excel at doing dumb stuff. And when you add alcohol into that, I had these folks come in, and they're like, would you play Burn It to the Ground by Nickelback? Wow. Nobody ever asked for that heavy of Nickelback. And well, they're like, we line dance to it. You line dance Burn It to the Ground? Oh, okay, I gotta see this. And so none of us in the band have ever played that one before, but we're like, hey, let's try it out. So we took 30 seconds and just hammered it out, and I completely underestimated Chad Kroger's amazing vocals. So instantly my voice was like, you're done.
So you're the main guy in your band. Who else is in your band?
Kind of a loaded question in Nashville, just because we have so many different players down here that we call just kind of on a whim or who's available. For most part these days, behind me on the drums is Adam Barber. I don't know if you guys have seen him or not. He wasn't at Nudies with me. That might have been TJ Case back then. But right now we have Adam Barber on drums, Glenn Helton, who is sometimes on bass guitar and sometimes on lead guitar, depending on who else we have in the band, which is usually Darcy John, who plays lead, or CJ Fiandra or Chris O'Brien. We have a good 8 players, I'd say, that we rotate a little bit. So
right. And you all mesh really well. Yeah, feed off each other's energy.
That is the crazy thing about down here. Everybody's just so talented, and they know so many songs that I have a list of players for each instrument I can call, and they're all gonna know every song I call out. The difference is, do they have the energy to follow along what we're looking for? So as long as they have that, man, they're in.
Right, and it's a very high energy show that you put on, which we know. You have a new release out. She's Right.
Yeah.
How's that doing?
That one did fairly well. It was my newest. It was, I think, third one back now.
Okay.
But yeah, that one did fairly well. I would have liked it to pick up a little more traction, but honestly, I had so much going on at the time that probably my fault. I didn't push it a whole lot. And one of my downfalls is or I think one of any musician's downfalls is sometimes you like certain songs personally that may not be your biggest hit, to the general population, or vice versa. And that was one of those songs for me. I was like, it's a little more poppy than I like personally. And so I really didn't push it, but I think it probably would have been one of those songs that the general population would have been like, man, I love it. But
Well,
yeah, I
for
don't think I did my job.
well, for our listeners and viewers, why don't we play She's Right by Tyson Haynes right now, and then we'll come back to Tyson and find out how he came up with the lyrics for it.
Sounds like a plan.
Let's do it.
Here it is. She's right.
Got a way of pulling me in, a taste of heaven mixed with the devil's sin. She ain't right for me and I know that, but there's something that keeps bringing me back. I don't know if it's the way that she says my name, or the way she bites her lip that drives me insane. Ooh, all I know is it's a losing fight. This girl's so wrong, she's right. She tells me that she needs me and begs me not to leave. She'll say how much she loves me, and like a fool I believe. She's got a way of pulling me in, a taste of heaven mixed with the devil's sin. She ain't right for me and I know that, but there's something that keeps bringing me back. I don't know if it's the way she makes me fall to my knees, or those cute little dimples on the side of her cheeks. Ooh, all I know is it's a losing fight. This girl's so wrong, she's right. She's like a single shot of whiskey when my day has gone to hell. She says just come here and kiss me. I get caught up in her blue-eyed spell. I don't know if it's the way her hair falls down her back, or how her soft kiss hits me like a heart attack. All I know is it's a losing fight. This girl's so wrong, she's right. Yeah, she's right. She's got a way of pulling me
Tyson Haynes, Mark, with She's Right.
Yeah, you know
Is
what?
that true? Is she right?
I was just about to say, those are two words I probably never said together.
Oh man,
Wow.
that's impressive.
Apparently, your own wife doesn't listen to our podcast.
No,
I'm going to make sure she hears this.
listen, I hear it from her.
So, Tyson, thanks for letting us play that. Can you tell us a little bit about that song and how you come up with the lyrics?
Yeah. So that that was one of those songs too, right off the bat, the title of it, whether it means that she is right or not in the song, I was like, that's just going to catch women right off the bat and be like, oh, I already like this song and I didn't have to hear it 'cause he says I'm right. So I figured that would be a good one.
It's all about
But,
the punctuation, right?
Exactly. In reality, it's just about just going after this girl that you know is completely wrong for you. And but there's just something that gets you about her and you can't stop thinking about her. You can't stop trying to go after her and get her. But in the back of your mind, you're like, I know this is not going to work. But she's just, she's enthralling and you can't stop it. So basically, those lyrics say, she's so wrong, but she's so right. You know?
Makes sense to me.
I'm
Yeah.
sure-
She is right, Mark.
Yeah, and I'm sure at some point or another we've all had that,
Out of all the songs you've written, do you have one favorite? I know it's like asking who your favorite child is, but
I kind of go back, after writing hundreds of songs in over my career, and it's like, man, I sometimes I forget about some when I go back and listen to them. Like, dang, man, that was a good one. I should re-record it. But like at the moment, and again, it goes off. Sometimes it's the writing that gets me. Sometimes it's the music. I released a song right before Thank You called Back Home. So it is a newer song. But that was one of my more rock and country tunes. It's really heavy guitar influence. And that's kind of what's always drawn me to country was that, well, for most part, that's why I love Garth Brooks. He had that rock edge, but still country. So that's what I got with this Back Home that I just released. It's definitely one of my favorites as far as putting out who I feel like I want to be in the country scene.
Yeah.
So that would definitely be up there on the tops. State of Emergency was another one of my favorites that I've written. Yeah, it had that punch I really needed, and actually that was one we released a music video for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just kind of goes back and forth on on the lyrics and the music side of it.
yeah.
Definitely Back Home for the music.
When you put an album out of those hundreds of songs, how do you pick which song is going to be on that album?
That's one of the toughest parts for me. Because again, like I said, I can go through it. Maybe I think this is such a great song; it needs to be on the album. Where general public might not agree with that. So that's one of the hardest parts. And I try to get, if I'm about to go in the studio, I'd like to message some random people that I know, just random. Maybe it's some cousins that I know, but they don't know what I've been up to or something. And I'll just throw out these songs and just be like, give me your opinion. And send it out to 20, 30 people and just try to get a consensus back on what everybody thinks generally. But that's one of the hardest parts for me is picking out of this massive list.
And what projects are you currently working on?
Now that I do have a couple more songs to release off State of Emergency album. There's a few more still. There's 12 in total on that. So now I'm back to the songwriting stage for what would be, any upcoming albums or EPs. Just back at the starting point as far as a new album is the writing.
Excellent. Have you gone out on tour and stepped outside of Nashville?
So I don't tend to do a lot of actual tours these days. I do stay out in Nashville pretty often on weekends, but I do a lot of private parties or private events, corporate events. Just got back from another military tour. South in the Bahamas, Honduras, Cuba.
Nice.
That region. So that was our most recent tour, was another military. But I really enjoy doing a lot of private events.
Sure.
It's really tough. I would love to put together some good tours, but unless they're festivals, it's really tough financially to put together any tour that's going to allow you to still survive off it. It's become tougher and tougher, I find. The bar scene, or doesn't quite pay the bills when you have grown-up bills.
Yeah.
I think back to it. you know, when I was 23, and I was like, man, together a bunch of tours across the country because money just didn't matter that much at that point.
Right,
But
right.
now it's like, oh, I have to think about the financial side, so much of it, and see what we can make happen for those tours. So it's tough.
Yeah, when you're not performing, what do you do?
Got a nice place out in the country, so I
I love
really enjoy serenity out here. I'm about, like I said, I'm about 45 minutes out of downtown, which I 100% need at this point. I still love to dirt bike. My new thing as of, I believe, 2 summers ago is called paramotoring, where you run and you get that parachute above your head and you just take off flying, and you're dangling your feet at a couple thousand.
Oh, no way.
So yeah, that's
Not
my
for
new
me.
adrenaline rush.
Not for me either.
You know, next time we're down in Nashville, I'll send my little brother up there with you. He loves that stuff. He wing walks. He thinks all that stuff's great. Parrot jumps out of planes. No, I'll wait for you guys on the ground.
Not me either.
See, it's always been motorcycles for me. You know, dirt bikes and crotch rockets were my two big things. So it was going flying through the air and speed. This thing that I have now, it's a whole nother adrenaline because it's not fast. You're just like, you're dangling your feet, and you could be at, you know, I've gone up to my highest so far was 8,000 feet.
Oh my
But
God.
you can keep going and going and going as long as space. And yeah, it's a whole nother adrenaline. Just looking down and being like, woo. Yeah.
No, oh no. I'm getting I'm getting a little anxious just thinking about it.
That's why with music, you know, I need to keep the energy up. This is the only way my adrenaline's going to get out of
That's
me.
awesome.
Where do
Right.
you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Where is your optimal end goal?
So this is another thing that a couple of years ago, I could have easily given an answer to that, being like, yeah, it's to be on a major record label and in the end game tour stadiums, you know, sell out stadiums. At this point in my life, and just you know, having my daughter growing up and finding family more, but I guess it's not my end all be all. I'm not looking for a giant record label at this point. If one came out of the woodworks and, you know, had an amazing contract behind it, would I take it? Probably. But it's not what I'm actively searching for anymore. I'm really enjoying the independent, try and make it on your own kind of thing. And my downfall to that is social media, because I don't enjoy being on a computer all day, or on my phone all day, I should say. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the independence of it and getting to do what I want with music when I want, how I want to. So I've been able to tour different countries and to go across America playing shows every single summer. And that's all on my own. And I can, like I said, I could do it when I want to, or when I don't want to, I can stay at home, or my daughter's up in Canada, so I have to visit her quite often. And that allows me to do that, where a giant record label, you know, I might be a little more locked down. So where I'm at in 5 or 10 years, I'm just kind of going off the cuff of things at this point, and hoping I can get my music out to as many people as I possibly can. See where it takes me.
Not a bad way to do it, and see where it takes you, right? It's kind of like putting that propeller on your back and letting that parachute take you up. See where it goes.
Exactly it. I've never been so at where I am with my music, so I'm just kind of enjoying that right now and seeing where it leads.
Excellent. That's great.
Yeah.
I guess that's that's your measure of success, and you've made it, right? I mean, that's a great place to be.
Yeah, and same with music. Success is also in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah.
So, years ago, I would have said I'm not successful unless I'm making millions on this giant record label. And now I'm like, I look back, I'm like, man, if you can make a good living, or whatever you consider to be a good living, if you can do that, be happy at your dream job, then I guess you've made it in at least your mind.
Right.
So, yeah.
And obviously you've made it because you get a lot of people that come out when you're playing a show. I know the venues see a pickup in business. There's no question about that.
Yeah, that's been one of the really cool things. The past couple of years, it's grown and grown. And every single show in Nashville alone, every show, there's multiple tables that have come just to see me. Doesn't like whatever venue I'm at, they'll obviously follow me to. But to play multiple times a week in Nashville and have people that you know at every single one of your shows, it's gotten to be a pretty cool thing. That I'm surprised about. I think it's really cool that I get so many messages that people are planning their trips around my shows.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I'm like, what? Why would you plan a trip around my one show? But people are genuinely disappointed when I'm not in town, and man, that's really cool. Like, extremely humbling, and yeah, you can't take that little stuff for granted because it's really cool.
Well, I'll be down in August for Kenny Chesney's concert at Nissan Stadium. I think that's like
Oh
the
wow, okay.
second or third, I think it is in August. So
I'm actually headed to Tampa this coming weekend to go see Kenny and Zach.
oh, that's a beautiful. I love Tampa.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun down there. I have a buddy who lives in Dunedin and in Clearwater, and if you haven't been over to Dunedin, check it out. It's one of the coolest little communities down there, and I think
How do you
you'll love
spell
it.
that?
Dunedin. It's
Okay.
just above Clearwater and just on the coast to the from Tampa, 30 minutes over.
I enjoy going to to see especially people like Kenny Chesney who put on a show. You can never get enough studying off the pros. So you may not be able to steal their show, but man, you can sure.
So that's interesting.
That's
When you go see a concert like that, you're one there to see the performer and enjoy the music and the crowd and everything, but you're also looking at the way they do it and seeing if there's anything you can glean from that and take it home.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's in my mind, it's half work trip still because I watch these. It's a very, very set show, but there's still things they do off the cuff that I'm like, man, why have I never thought of doing that? Like that, just engage the crowd, and it's never crossed my mind before. So there's always little tidbits to pick up, and I try my best to remember them, and like I said, not take them exactly how I see them, but just throw a little bit of that into my show and see if it works for me as well as it does for them.
Now, with that said, when was the last time you crowd surfed?
Oh, I think the last time I crowd surfed was last 4th of July in Kuwait. God, it was one of the most memorable shows of my life. The bases can, sometimes it's a tiny show, sometimes it's a big show, and you never know what you're going to get out of them because some can't drink, some can drink, and they have to be up for work early. There's so many variables. But this show in particular, it we started out as your normal show, and they're sitting there, but start trying to pump them and pump them and pump them. We got all of them up to the front of the stage. And when we played Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, we had everybody off their feet. And I was like, you know what? There's not a gap between shoulders right now. I'm jumping. And, so yeah, I think that was the last one was 4th of July. And man, that was a good one.
You were definitely an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, we had a small tour bus set up and had my sign on our bus, and it was in the front window, I guess, and the bus was sitting off side stage. We couldn't see it, but I guess some people stormed the bus after the show and stole that sign. And the manager was so pissed. Why would people do this? And I took it as such a compliment.
Absolutely.
Like, I think that's awesome. I mean, chaos to me is great.
That's fun.
So I want to go back a little bit on something that you were talking about. When you go to a show and you kind of, look at other musicians, we had Harmony Kelly, and she was the bass player for Kenny Chesney. She was one of our guests.
Very cool.
And she is awesome. And she said something similar about, learning music like never ends, no matter what scale you are on the music spectrum. So she even does the same thing that you were saying about going and, not stealing, but, observing and taking little tidbits. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, yes, that's absolutely right. I don't think you can never reach the pinnacle of any part of music, I don't think. Because as soon as you think you've got something nailed down, there's just other little pieces that can be better. Like as an entertainer, I think I do really well at it. But then I go watch Kenny Chesney or I go watch Garth Brooks. And I'm like, there's still little parts of my entertainment that could be bumped up and I could do better at. And I think that's the same with any instrument or just anything in general with music. You're never at the pinnacle, and that's really cool to hear Kenny Chesney's, musicians say that.
We've heard that, multiple times from
Yeah.
a lot of our guests.
Yep. One of the guys, Mike Valeris, he's a professor. He's a sort of a jazz guitarist, and he also teaches, and he works with a lot of people, and he works with some pretty big names, and he says, these guys are always looking to improve, and so they're taking lessons from me, even though they're at this level of their career, they're way up here,
Right.
and they're still looking to do things differently and improve upon. It's amazing.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
that
a
is
commitment,
wild.
right? When you're committed to your craft, that never ends, right?
Very true. Very true. You have that. You're just always striving to get better at whatever you're loving to do. So
We heard a song a moment ago, and I'd love for the audience. We're going to play "Thank You," the military tribute song. I think it's going. I think it's a great song. I think the audience is going to love it, and we thank you for writing it. So let's play that right now.
Let's do it, Mark. So this is Tyson Haynes with
Thank you.
This song goes out to everyone who has served for our freedom. Thank you for your sacrifices, and thank you for your service. I'm not the best with words, yet I write songs. I stand up on a stage and play music all day long. I get told that I'm amazing, and that ain't true. 'Cause you all are the reason I get to do what I do. What y'all do is amazing. I get to enjoy my life while I'm up here with a six string. You're out there saving mine, and I'm not the best with words, so I'll say all that I know too. You are true heroes. Freedom ain't free, and thank you. You best believe we don't take it for granted. Everything that y'all go through, hell, we'll never understand it. But if you're ever feeling like you're forgotten back at home, you can bet your ass that you're wrong. 'Cause what y'all do is amazing. I get to enjoy my life while I'm up here with a six string. You're out there saving mine, and I'm not the best with words, so I'll say all that I know too. You are true heroes. Freedom ain't free, and thank you. What y'all do is amazing. I get to enjoy this life while I'm up here with a six string and a dream. You're somewhere out there saving mine, and I'm not the best with words, so I'll say all that I know too. You are true heroes. Freedom sure as hell ain't free, and thank you.
It's just kind of like we were like Donnie and Marie right there. Thank you. And
Who's
that-
Donnie? You're Marie.
I'm all right with
Oh, there you go.
All right.
that. I'm in touch with that side of myself, I guess.
So we are Musicians and Beyond. We want everyone to give us a follow and make sure you check out Tyson Haynes. And if you're ever in the Nashville area, look up TysonHaynes.com. Download his music, check out his videos, see him live. You definitely won't be disappointed.
Go to his shows. I promise you, when he passes the bucket to get a song request in, and people fill that up pretty good. I know that they're looking to see him play when they're throwing money at him.
Making me sound like I'm stripping or something.
No. Well, you definitely get the attention of the women in the audience. I've seen that happen before. So
I was gonna say, if it's part entertainment, I'll do it too.
there you go.
There you go. Awesome. We want to thank you for taking your time coming on. We know that you have a full schedule, and
One of the things we like to say when we have someone come on the show, we always think, after the conversation, we've made a friend. So we want to think of you as one of our friends, and we thank you for that.
Absolutely. Well, I thought that before when we were emailing military pictures back.
I love it. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that, and for the country and for all the people that serve. We definitely appreciate what you're doing for us.
I think it's the least we can do.
thanks for coming
Excellent.
on.
Thanks, Tyson.
Thank you.